everyone, and welcome to one more session of Hospitality Talks. This one is about transforming uncertainty into an opportunity. Today we have two industry experts joining us. One of them is Jackie Lutz, who is the head of internships and career and internships at Lyon. And also we have Fabrice Tesset, who is the Vice President of Schools Relations and Partnerships at Accor. They will introduce themselves to you in a little bit. First, let me just refresh your mind a little bit about Hosco, who we are, what we stand for, what's our passion. Hosco was born in 2011 with one clear passion, which is the one that drives us every single day, and it's empowering hospitality. To do so, we unite out three main pillars of this industry. Of course, our members, who are students and professionals of the hospitality industry. We currently have more than 1.5 million members as part of the Hosco platform. We have our company partners, who are more than 7,000 right now, who are looking for the best talent to provide excellent customer service to their clients, and of course provide you with opportunities. And one important pillar in every single sector and industry around the world, which is schools and education. And we have more than 400 school partners from the hospitality industry from all over the world who are part of Hosco. Under the same umbrella of empowering hospitality, we launched recently, just 3 weeks ago, or a few weeks ago, Hosco Learning. And if you go to hosco.com and you look on the top of the menu, you will see Hosco courses. And if you click there, you'll be able to explore more than 300 programs, certificates, degrees. If you are looking to skill, upskill, reskill, or even if you're not part, or if you're part in the industry but you never got proper training and education, now you can explore the different opportunities out there and find the one that fits your needs better. Hospitality Talks is one of the many initiatives Hosco has put together to help you make most of this time at home. As you know, this global pandemic started or was declared by the World Health Organization on the 12th of March. And since then, the entire world went under a lockdown. Of course, some regions, some countries are already easing the lockdown. For example, here in Spain, in Barcelona, where I'm located, we're opening the borders on June 21st, which is basically next week. Fabrice is joining us from Paris. Jack is joining us from Geneva. So each single country and each single region, of course, is going through different phases, as I mentioned. And so first, of course, I want to thank you, everyone, for joining us today. I know you're joining us from different parts of the world. So good morning, good afternoon, good night, depending where you are located. Before we begin, and before I briefly introduce you to our to the topic of today's discussion, I want to invite Jackie Lutz, Head of Career and Internships at Lyon, to introduce herself to you guys.
So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're joining us from. I'm delighted to be here today. My name is Jackie Lutz. I'm head of career and internship at Lyon in Switzerland. And first, I'd like to thank Hosco for inviting me along, and Fabrice as well for joining. And I hope we're going to have a really interesting discussion and bring some light on the subject that we're talking about today. So I've been with Lyon for 10 years in the career and internship department. And before that, I had my background is in education and in corporate communications. I'm British, but have been living in Switzerland for a long time, and still with Lyon, and looking forward to our school getting back on track and opening up again next month.
Now we have with us Fabrice Tesset, who's the Vice President of Schools Relations and Partnerships at Accor. You can see his background.
The background, yes, of Accor. Good afternoon, everybody, and yes, maybe good morning for some of them and some of you, and good evening. So I'm very happy to be here. Thank you as well as to Hosco to have invited us, which is very kind and very interesting. And thank you participants, to be 248 right now, 49, and the counter is changing every minute. So we are happy to interact with you, even if it's not the same as to be front of you. So it's a different exercise, but anyway, yes, it's good. It's good to meet you again, because during this time, yes, you know, this period, we miss you. And it's good that today, yes, we can meet a bit better, thanks to Hosco and to Jackie to be there. So yes, we will try to give you some light about the subject, but also some light in the tunnel, I guess, huh? And I hope. And
exactly.
For me, so I'm Vice President, yes, in charge of school relations and partnership for Accor, since I would say baby born, I would say, with Accor, as I'm hotelier, yes, taking different responsibilities as a VP HR in different parts of the world. And now, yes, taking care of presenting to you students what can be offered, yes, in Accor, and listening to you about your professional projects, and trying to make it match, because we need you. We need you now. We need you for the future. And also, we discuss a lot with many of you every year and in different places, in order, yes, to be sure that we can provide what you are expecting in different parts of the world, and organizing some events as well, beside the traditional, I would say, career forums, and also interviews that we can organize distantly or yes, in front of you. So one-to-one sometimes. But,
exactly, I agree with you.
Please, Sandra, sorry.
I agree with you that we all miss being in front of people in real life. Of course, webinars have become very popular, and digital has been our savior for many of us, right? To be able to keep connecting with our friends, with our families. And but hospitality is about people. Hospitality is about connecting face to face, not only digital. So we all hope to go back to normal soon. One thing before we start that I forgot to point out is, first, these webinars being recorded. So you will receive the recording of this webinar next year in the email that you use to register. And also, if you look at the bottom of the screen, you will see a small box that says QA. We will try to address your questions at the end of this webinar. So I'm leaving that part at the end. We will pick 3 to 5 questions, because of course, as a matter of time, this webinar will last maximum an hour. So at 6 p.m. we will be saying 6 p.m. Central European time, we will saying our goodbyes. And so, but please submit your questions. We will try to address them. So to begin with, a very positive note. As you might know, this industry has been one of the most impacted, not the only one, but one of the most impacted around the world by the global health crisis that we're still suffering. But we must remember that hospitality was, until last year, we hope that it will be again one of the fastest growing industries around the world. Just last year, the year ended with record numbers. More than 330 million jobs were created thanks to travel and tourism. That accounts for 1 in every 10 jobs around the world. And also, it accounts for 10% of the GDP. We're talking about $8.9 trillion, which is quite a lot of money that was generated thanks to tourism and traveling. So we know that this is something, this industry is crucial for the world's recovery. It's crucial for job creations. It's crucial for the GDP, of course, of the world. So we must remain confident that we will go back to normal, and that we will become again one of the fastest growing industries around the world. But we know that this is going through tough times. So I wanted to start with that positive note, because it seems that's far away, but those numbers are from December 2019. So not even, we're in June, just 6 months ago. Okay. And so with that, I would like to start asking Mr. Fabrice, are we moving now with this global health crisis? Are we moving from employer branding, which was one of the goals, right, of HR professionals and marketing professionals, employer branding, to employee branding? Is this going to change? What do you think?
Well, I think that, yes, thank you. And also, yes, I didn't mention about my nationality, but I'm sure you've guessed. So there's no issue about that. And also, yes, I wanted yes, to tell you that, yes, employer branding is important and will be important still. Because, of course, yes, we are, yes, going through, yes, a crisis. We all know. Also, we are talking more and more about post-COVID. So thanks that we are in a second step, I would say now, and talking about that now, we have all reopened. Yes, 60% of our hotels we are opening. Yes, about yes 200 every week, and we have good news. Yes, today is that we will open Accor Arena. Yes, on next Friday, and we are very happy with that because we've been allowed to organize yes. A super show with 2,000 attendees, and as well, yes, there will be 40 artists, and so for us, yes, it's really a good sign, and we're enjoying that. Of course, respecting all safety measures, and that's the thing. Talking about you guys, you students and graduates, you will still be yes, benefiting of an employer branding policy that we have to develop because you have till today you have the choice. You have to set your mind to think about next steps of career, and we employers have to present you what can be the difference between the different companies, what you can find in terms of yes first step, also career path, and as well about the values and the culture, which is so important, and what is the purpose we put in getting you on board, and what can be yes developed with your career in our company. It's not the same. We have competitors. We are competitors who are presenting you a lot of offers, and I would say some are maybe better in some aspect in presenting to you something which would be more attractive for you. And what is very important for any employer is to put up front the difference that we can provide and what is the culture, what kind of job, but also what kind of environment and career an applicant can expect. And that's very important and will still be.
So you think, okay, so it will be still important. So you're telling us that Accor, for example, will keep investing, and congratulations for opening the Accor Arena, because holding an event of 2,000 people today sounds like a miracle. So congrats on that. And that's very positive news for everyone listening right now. You will keep investing, but do you think, for example, people need to invest also a little bit more in employee branding as a personal branding?
Yes. For sure.
Last year, for example.
That's something maybe we will talk about, yes, maybe a bit later, about what could be the advice about what to do in order to be more competitive as an applicant tomorrow.
Okay.
And to take the opportunity today, and that is a positive side of what's happening today, is that you can take time in order to professionalize, to put some professional aspect in presenting yourself, in selling your application, in marketing your application, and those things are very important. That's for sure, and it will make the difference, because that is true. Yes, in the weeks to come, there is a big competition between applicants and between offers and applicants. Yes, there is a balance which is so different than a few weeks or months ago.
Yes, exactly. Last year, one of the values that we treasure here at Hosco is that we love data. And last year we published a report called Talent Trend. And in that report, and it was no secret for anyone that there was talent shortage in the industry, right? So until last year, the industry was facing talent shortage, especially in the F&B department. So F&B professionals and chef was or still is a struggle for many companies, right? So I think it's interesting and it's very positive that you're pointing out that a company like Accor, which is the biggest hotel company around the world, will keep investing in employer branding to show the values of what you have to offer to professionals. However, of course, we know it's no secret that now from the employee side, from the talent side, we have, to invest in ourselves, to sell ourselves, because now there is more competition. So there is competition on the company side, and now there is more competition on the professional side, right? So talking about the different tools that professionals, that talent can use to promote themselves, is of course CV, curriculum vitae, or resume, depending how you call it. It is one of the the first tool that comes to a talent mind to sell oneself. So Jackie, as an expert in career, and you're advising your students and alumni regarding this, please provide 3 main tips that you think are key for us to put our CV to in tone, I would say, to start looking for opportunities.
First of all, yes, the CV is still very important. It's your calling card. It's your introduction. It's what people see first of you. And as we all know, first impressions are key, and first impressions are lasting. And often when you're applying for a job, the first impression that an employer will get of you is through your CV. So it's clearly a major tool and of great importance. Obviously, I'm going to tell you, make sure your CV is concise and clear and without any mistakes. That is an obvious tip. I think that is not a secret for anyone. I think the next thing is that now more than ever, you need to stand out. So you need to have a CV that really appeals, is very appealing. I wouldn't say that means, put lots of colors in it, make a great design, make it very complicated. Simple is still best. Your information needs to be very easy to read, easily accessible for employers. They're not going to spend long on your CV if they have to look around all over the place for the different information. So something very simple, stylish, and clear is the best in terms of appearance for your CV. In terms of your content, I would say, think about what employers of today are looking for now at this particular time. Put yourself in the shoes of an employer. Who do I want to employ? What qualities do I want in my employees now in 2020, in June 2020, after the COVID, after the shutdown, the lockdown, coming back, in the difficult times that we have ahead? What kind of employees do I need? Who do I want to bring on board? Think about the qualities that they're going to need. What are they going to need? They're going to need people who are very creative. They're going to need people who are solution-oriented. They're going to need people who have drive, passion, optimism, and who contribute to society, who are very resourceful. And these are the kind of qualities that they will be looking for. So when you're exposing your information, all the things that you've acquired, all the things that you want to show to the employer that you have your experiences, make sure that you're putting that kind of spin on it to show how resourceful you are, how dynamic you are, how creative you are. Obviously, things like digital skills. We've talked about, we're all doing Zooms and Teams and meetings, and everything's online. Obviously, digital is going to be huge. So this is also something that needs to come through in your CV. So I would also say, as a tip, don't be afraid to have more than one CV. Don't just think, this is my CV, that's that, okay? Try and keep it on one page so it's succinct, but you can have several versions. You can tailor your CV to the company and the position that you're applying to, which means that it's a document, it's a living document, it's something that grows with you, and you will want to maybe tailor your CV for a particular position or company. Not that you're going to make up stuff, but you're just going to put the accent slightly different on slightly different parts depending on the position you're applying to.
Okay. That's a really good advice. So if we're applying to a marketing position, maybe highlighting some skills, right, that are more... Exactly,
highlighting the skills that you think that company... And obviously, in order to do that, you need to be doing your research. So research. It's key always for the position and the company that you're applying to.
Okay. That's very, I mean, that actually brings me to my next point, which is cover letters, because you were mentioning having, of course, a living CV, right? Something that's not one thing, it's done, click, check, and then you can just forward to every single employee and position. So with cover letters, and this is for you both, because I want to hear from Fabrice as someone who's been in HR for quite some time. Cover letters, are they still valid? We see some, as at Hosco, for example, we see some companies posting jobs that request a cover letter, and some other go a little bit farther, saying cover letter where you need to answer X, Y, and Z, for example. Why would you like to work for us? Why do you think you're the best for this position? And when you read that, maybe as an applicant, you go, this is so much work. Actually, finding a job is a job itself, right?
Yes,
sometimes.
for sure.
Yes, yes.
But it is. It can be a full-time job.
It is.
With cover letters, because I would say CV, which is one page, is more structured, bullet points. It might be easier to adapt and to have 3-5 different versions. With cover letters, what would you suggest, Jackie? And then for HR standpoint of view, Fabrice, I want to know if you think they're still valid, and what are you looking for in those cover letters?
So I think, yes, they're definitely still valid. And I think this is where we can also begin to talk about personal branding, which we touched on earlier. The two documents complement each other. So you have your CV, and you can refer to things in your CV, which you will then pick up again in your cover letter. And it's that in there where you can explain more fully, particularly focusing on the aspects that I mentioned earlier, the sort of the traits and the characteristics that employers are going to be looking at, where you can fully illustrate that you fit the profile of what employers are looking for today. So, resourcefulness, agility, etc.
So basically using it to enhance that ability thereafter, right? So I'm also mean it's a living document that you have to adapt from one employee to employer.
Certainly, absolutely. Even more so than the CV, because you're writing to, when you're writing a cover letter, I would say always imagine the person who's reading it. You're writing to somebody. You're not just writing something. You're writing to somebody. Somebody's going to be reading that. So address that person. Say, this is who I am, and this is what I've got to offer. And imagine that you're writing to Mr. Fabrice Tessier, for example, if you want to work for Accor, and that he is going to be reading this. So you have in mind that you're not just writing stuff down. You're actually addressing this to an actual person.
And Fabrice, when you read the cover letters, what makes them stand out?
Yes, true. And talking about the wall, yes, as you were mentioning, that it is a personal branding, and you're making a sort of full package of presenting yourself. As a recruiter, you need to imagine if the applicant could fit with one position. So you have to imagine. It's difficult. The job of a recruiter is difficult and easy. It's easy because there is no perfect solution. So it is not a rocket science. So anyway, you can say, okay, I could not guess if it would work or not. But still, he has to imagine how would the person fit and develop in a position. So everything which is written, said, all messages, all communication aspects are to be taken into real attention. As everything was Jackie saying, yes, is so important. As well as you were saying, Jackie, about having different CVs. Yes, you can have 2-3 CVs, because also if you're applying for, you like communication and HR, which are not so far sometimes in some aspects, it's not the same CV. It will not be. Also, of course, we have to work on and work hard on your Hosco profile. Of course, you have to put it, and to put it as you can put more things on it as well, more than on the CV. It has to be clear, concise, and such a thing. But the recruiter will go, if he's interested in what you show as a teaser, then he will go further. He will go to your Hosco profile, and he will go, of course, to your LinkedIn profile. And so this is also something. And if we talk to CV, and maybe during the questions we can go further, definitely we'll go to the video CV. CV video is something where you as students, you are not so keen on, and definitely you can make the difference. You can stand out with that it can help a lot. So we will talk a bit later. And we were talking about a cover letter, which is a motivation letter, which is so important. So important because that is true. It looks a bit old school. It looks a bit boring because you have to say, oh, I love your company, which is a leader in its market and such a thing and such a thing. But the way you will express why you want to join this company, this specific company, is showing a lot of your personality and as well how you deal with things and with something which is not obvious. For sure, read it, yes. Not everyone are writing a letter.
Everyone is a writer.
It doesn't exist anymore.
But
so
especially,
it's something.
I would say
and
especially,
as well, you have to imagine that a recruiter is a lazy person. He's a lazy person because it has to read a lot. So you have to be concise, not to put so many things about fantastic companies that you would like to join, but a few things about what you want to do, why you would like to join this company, why you would like to be the person in that position, and some details which are not in the CV. When are you available, and what maybe is your next career path, or what do you expect from the company, so if you make importance into the values or into the careers, so few things like that, which will put your personality into action. And of course, another letter that maybe we don't talk about so much, which is a reference letter. It's so fantastic, reference letter, because it's someone who is talking of what you do well. It's so easier than you have to sell and to say, I'm the best in that, I'm the best in that. Someone is telling it for you. So fantastic. And it's a small, small world, hospitality, as you know. But take care with the motivation letter, coming back to motivation letter, take care not to put a copy paste, because I can tell you sometimes I say that, and of course,
I think anyone
quickly to the closing of the file.
Anyone that has been in a recruitment or has recruited anyone at a certain point, you see a letter addressed to another company, and it's like, oh, thank you. Now
I would like so much to recruit.
Goodbye.
Company. Whoa, okay. So happy to hear.
So that's something obvious, but I've seen it in some CVs. I've received some resumes and cover letters.
And sure, I can understand because you have to write a lot, and of course, you don't rewrite totally every letter. Of course, we know that, but you have to put attention to some of the details. And hospitality is full of details. You know that.
Yes. So to sum it up a little bit, the cover letter is still important, it's still relevant. Of course, as you said, HR people, it's not that you're lazy, but you're really busy and you're recruiting all the time. You're not lazy.
Yes,
you're recruiting a lot.
It's big.
Okay, and so you have to be concise, but the way you express will show recruiters how you might treat customers as well. Even if you're not a writer, it will show a lot about your personality, how you communicate. And you can show, of course, a few skills through your writing. And it's not so much about the company and telling them how amazing they are. You need to tell them how amazing you are and what you can bring to them and you can offer to them.
And what was so important for your choice, why you writing to that company or to applying for that position, to personalize. We have to personalize. It is our job every day. Every day we have to personalize for the guest and more and more. You personalize your application for that position, for that company. What was so important and why you have written today for that position, to that company, and few details about the company, which happened in the news and something like that, which is showing that you're not only
that you have done your research. It's important that you have done your research. Okay, brings me to my next question for you, Fabrice, which is and I guess you will talk maybe about the referral letter. How can talent be more competitive, as there will be more demand for jobs than supply of jobs, at least for the next upcoming months?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
How can talent be more competitive? Because as we know, there will be more demand, so more people are demanding jobs than jobs themselves, at least for the next upcoming months.
I'm sure that all the participants of this webinar has developed the skills, professional skills in theory, in practical at school, in practical in hotels or in hospitality, in the different tools. So technical skills, I'm sure. You have to put it, you have to show it in your CV. What will make the difference is definitely, yes, his personality. We are in a people-oriented activity industry, so definitely it is how you deal in the relationship. Relationship means with the guest, with a team, and with also your colleagues. So it means that all experiences which have been or which can happen, where you can deal with guests and you can show what has been done, which are your successes with a guest situation in the different aspect of hospitality. So good. Also, if you had the chance to lead a team or to manage or to train the team, train some trainees, and those experiences so plentiful of attractivity for us. And as well with your colleagues, with your, with the different students. Of course, if you have led some projects or if you were involved in some projects, and what was your role inside.
Okay.
Those things are so important and are put up front. If we can discover that, then helps a lot. Your personality, of course, we're talking about enthusiasm, passion, of course, because it's so, well, it's not so easy, our jobs. It's something that are plenty, it's still a blessing industry, that's for sure, and it will be, it will remain, it will start again, for sure, but you have to enter, and you know that, because you remember your first internship, I'm sure, and it was not around the swimming pool. You were finding that the swimming pool is nice in that hotel or in that place, but the position that you had was not so comfortable. You had to
You were not swimming. Fast. You were not swimming in the
Yes,
pool.
we were not swimming so much. Maybe swimming, but in another way, and paddling again, and of course, but yes, and you progress, and those things, yes, are something where you progress, and of course, yes, all the things around the human touch, human ability, human talents are something which is so important for us.
To, of course, it's key in this industry, right? At the end, what we try to do all the time is create an unforgettable experience for our guests. So perhaps, and to summarize a little bit, maybe perhaps adding examples, specific examples of how you deal with certain situations. And as Fabrice explained, of course, projects and so on, it's valuable to help you stand out when you're applying to a job. And even in your Hosco profile, you can add specific examples of situations you have dealt with in the past with guests. For Jackie, I want to know, and as Fabrice was explaining, right, this human touch, or this human ability that hospitality people, hospitality professionals have. It brings me to my next question, which is skills. Skills is very important, but skills have been changing. There have been a lot of conversation about soft skills, of course. So from students looking for an internship to professionals looking for a full-time job, what should they be focusing on learning and improving now to be ready for this new normal?
So obviously, I would say the skills, the basic hospitality skills that they will all have learned in their respective trainings and in the different internships and experiences that they may have had already are obviously going to be crucial. There's going to be very clearly an accent on hygiene and health and well-being. So it's very important to understand what is necessary. It's also, I think, very important to understand that guests will be very demanding. It's not that they will be demanding, they will need reassurance. So we will need to, as hospitality professionals, need to be very understanding that people are scared, because they will be. People will be scared, particularly at the start of coming back. So we need to be extremely understanding, and I think this is where the emotional intelligence comes in, of really relating to people, sensing when something is off, something is not right, understanding how to make it better. So I think we need to be extremely resourceful and solution oriented to finding the right approach, and obviously developing these sensory skills, which means understanding people. And I know that hospitality professionals, they have this because this is part of the soft skills that are developed during their training, and it's going to be something that is even more important than before as we move forward in this very uncertain times that we're going into.
I mean, I absolutely agree with you. And in different, what I've been reading and different webinars I've joined myself, I see emotional skills will be key, absolutely key, dealing with this fear or, you know, people will be scared at the beginning, as you mentioned. And if you are more into like a leading position, if you're leading a team, emotional skills are going to be even more important because you need.
I think at every level, they're going to be important. At every level, you're going to have those skills, as Fabrice has already said, not only towards your guests, but towards your teammates, towards your colleagues, towards suppliers, towards everyone. It's a very important time to be sensitive to the feelings and the approach of others.
There are many things you can do, of course, to improve emotional skills. There are many programs and many, I would say, more towards the psychological aspects of dealing with guests and customers that you can start learning online, of course, to help you improve those emotional skills so you're prepared for, I don't like to call it new normal, but. I
think we've all had to question ourselves going into lockdown as we have. And I think a lot of people have developed within themselves through forced isolation, thinking about how to deal with a new context that we're moving into. And I think that will help everyone to be more understanding towards each other.
Absolutely. It has changed us for, I would say, for the better, right? Yeah. And also in many aspects, it has helped us reflect upon what makes us human beings first and foremost. For a time, the entire world has been vulnerable, not just
exactly. And I think that we have to take the positive from what the past few months that we've just been through, and we have had a questioning of ourselves, our approach to things, to certain things, excessive consumerism, zero waste, kind of environmental issues, etc. And all this has really come to the forefront, and we've had time to think about it and to think about how we as individuals live and what we do and what we can do to make ourselves better in the future. And I think there's certainly among the people that I've spoken to and some of the students and some of my colleagues, a real desire to be better.
I absolutely agree with you. And also talking about people's careers, right? Like we also have the time to think about what we really want, where we want to grow.
Absolutely. I think on all levels, again, both in our personal lives and in our professional lives, and how we can be better and move forward in a more harmonious way.
Yeah, I agree. And do you think, Jackie, and also Fabrice, and your hospitality employer, Fabrice, and that, I mean, first I want to point out that just recently we actually yesterday we published an infographic where we show results of a survey that we did to more than 1,000 of our Hosco members, and very positively, 85% of them said that they want to. They're likely or very likely to stay in the hospitality industry. They don't want to leave this industry. However, we know the reality right now. There are fewer jobs available and fewer vacancies across Europe and across the world in this field. Would you advise, sadly, to maybe your students to start looking maybe for a while to start their careers in other industries?
I would advise them to be very open-minded. To see what's available. I would say, don't be narrow-minded. Don't say, I want this and only this. You can still have your dreams. You can still have your goals and your aims, but you may need a slightly different path to get to them. So be prepared to maybe not start your career internationally, but locally. Okay, because we know that local companies will start needing us first, and that there will be less opportunity to travel internationally, and that there will be opportunities maybe on a smaller scale, maybe in the different type of property that you had hoped to start in, I think that hospitality will absolutely bounce back, and I've listened to many webinars, as we all have, and the professionals of the industry are quite unanimous in the fact that this industry will come back, and I'm quite confident that it will. So I don't see our hospitality young professionals as having to necessarily think, okay, well, that's it for hospitality, I'm moving into something else, because everything is a bit upside down at the moment. So you can't say that one particular industry is doing fine while hospitality is crashing. That's not the case. Everywhere is struggling. Hospitality will come back. There will be opportunities. I think Fabrice has already said, you know, we will be needing you. Hospitality companies are opening up again. They will be developing. They will bounce back. Crisis is a time where things get polarized and ideas come to fruition, and there is generally some kind of growth spurt afterwards.
Yes, I mean, I once again, I agree with you. Everything you're saying, we're aligned. And I myself, for example, I graduated in the middle of the last crisis we had in 2010. Yeah. And when I graduated, and this will bring me to my question to you, Fabrice, I was not able to land, of course, my dream job at the beginning. So I was jumping from one job to the other. The contracts were very short, so my contracts will expire. And so at one point, but that was the situation, but at one point I got afraid of showing my CV. Every time I wanted a new job, I was like, oh my God, this human resources person is gonna think that I'm not loyal to companies because I'm jumping to one company to the other. But the crisis at that moment made the job market work like that. So Fabrice, what do you think? Will you be more open-minded to see more chop kind of resumes?
Yes, true. Yes, well, there are different things, yes, which can be done. Yes, I think as the title was giving about the crisis and the opportunities. The opportunities are personal for developing each of us, and also to target maybe on the mid-term and the longer term that maybe we do usually. And that is true that anyway, we are on a marathon race, and a career is a marathon race. And there was an image which was given, yes, someone in hospitality was saying, anyway, you for running and going to the end of a marathon, you need to do some cross training, because you will have to take care of your heart, you will have to take care of your muscles, and you will need the mental, of course. So all the things that you can do today can help you, and is something that we have to be humble, we have to be open-minded, and we have to still keep the way until, yes, to the hospitality. That's something, but maybe in different ways. I do agree. And we were talking about be better. Also, it's something where we have to keep in mind that there are some aspects. It's so rich, hospitality as well. It's so rich that you can work on some aspects which will be so useful in the future. Health, well-being, that's for sure. Sport, that's something where hospitality will have to give some answers, some development, as well as the senior people during this crisis. It's awful what has happened with senior people, for them, and also us with them. And it was so also to think about senior tourism, how to welcome them, or to help them, yes, to feel better, yes, in the future as hotelier. Those things are to be either research, either trained, either informed, either developed, maybe, yes, in some aspect, as well as digital, for sure. And we see with the distance, the digital takes more importance, of course. We see that today, and in every aspect of the guest experience and employee experience, as well as artificial intelligence, data, that's for sure. So to be keen, to be developing in those aspects also is very important. And yes, that is true. My advice would be, yes, to research, to work on those aspects, on different aspects. Also the X factor, which are the ones of the students, because it's the opportunity. You have time, you have the way to explore through internet, through some MOOCs, through some learning, distant learning, which are offered. Yes, there is free learning in many places today, and free or not free, depends, but you can do. Also the network. Network, we were talking a bit about, yes, about it. It's so important. It's really the moment that you can do. We had a webinar last week and it was so funny. We are talking about networking and everybody, all they were on the chat, they were asking, hello, I'm from Singapore. Hello, I'm from South Africa. Hello, I'm from Las Vegas. This is my LinkedIn address. This is my
yes.
And this is something where international is still alive. And international is the sake of hospitality, for sure,
usually,
still alive. So
yes.
the advice about the job to take, maybe if we go short on that, I say, yes, to be humble, to be open-minded, to take something which will lead to something else at the end, because even I'm not working in a camping, but I had some candidates I could not hire who told me, okay, I will be assistant manager of a camping. Why not? They will deal with some guests, not so easy every day. They will deal with situations with managing a team, and they will deal with an area where they have also the guest experience and such, and also profit P&L to manage. So why not? Why not? Be open and take the experience. And we employers, we understand. We know what is the situation today. If you come tomorrow and the day after tomorrow, and you have something on your resume which is a bit different, I would say, than only working in the luxury hotels for a while, okay, and you explain what it has brought to you, we understand. We understand and we can put value in it. As today, I can tell you already today, you student, when you come to see me and you're talking to me about having worked in a fast food or in retail, yes, distribution, yes, in a big thing, and as a cashier, I can tell you, I know and I understand what it is about, and it is a plus for you. So it will be tomorrow that kind also of experience, only to take the best of it.
Okay, so not to be afraid to jump into maybe an opportunity, a kind of job that's not your dream one, working for a corp, for example, in luxury, but that for sure will build valuable skills to the table once they're able to join a company like yours.
But you don't have to go out of hospitality. Also, some person say, okay, you can go out from hospitality. I would advise, yes, you've worked hard in hospitality. We have told you that we need you. So look at hospitality closely. That's because maybe closer to your home, maybe in different brands, but yes, there are hotels who are recruiting, maybe a shorter mission, because I know that schools have made an effort as well for the internship, for making it more flexible dates to start, flexible durations and such a thing. So also show your motivation and adjust, adapt, but there are opportunities.
Yes.
We, all of the industry are reopening hotels, so bring your application, maybe by yourself, maybe by a direct application, and explain what you want to do and the flexibility that you have in what you expect as you being
little by little, I know the hospitality industry will recover, it will rebound, and it will be get back to normal. So we're running out of time. We just have 10 minutes, so we have chosen 2 questions because of timing. One is regarding cover letter. So any of you who wish can answer regarding CV and cover letter writing. Not everyone has writing skills, but this person is saying, I recently uploaded my CV on Hosco and they offer free CV review. Yes, we do. And I got really useful insights on how to improve my CV. And but this person is saying that it's this kind of, I don't know if you're familiar with electronic tools, but are they really useful? Is there anything that you will advise that can help them get a quick check for maybe grammar, for maybe expressions or keywords that can help them improve? Any tools that you would recommend?
I don't have any tools that I recommend. I recommend get someone to read it for you. get somebody to help you with it. I don't know about any online tools. I'm sure that exists. We don't use those because we have a team of counselors, and I think the face-to-face is always better.
Okay.
So we haven't resorted to any online tools for CV correction. But I would say if you have someone in your family or in your network who can read through for you when you've been working on a document, whatever document it is, for a couple of hours, you've had it up to here, you can't see the wood for the trees. It might be, you give it to someone else and they'll say, oh, but did you notice this? And of course you wouldn't have done. So they'll spot any spelling mistakes, particularly if it's somebody of the mother tongue of the language you're writing in. So I would always say get somebody to look through it for you.
So for an editor, I would say, right? Someone that can give a fresh pair of eyes.
A fresh pair of eyes,
Yes,
even if it's your sister, your parents, your boyfriend, somebody who will take a little step back and say, hang on, I don't think that's quite right, or you've made that doesn't make sense, or something like that.
Don't be too stressed out, neither, because you can read to 10 people. 10 people will have a different point of view. Also, it's the recruiters. So at the end of the day, but still, yes, for sure, make it reread for avoiding all mistakes. Because if we go on one, we stick to it. When we read a CV, even if we don't want to give credit to the experience, we stick to it, and then after, yes, if we have two or if we have three, that's difficult, because yes, you stay, yes, your chance are spent, yes, in something that you can check before. You can check before, and as well as Jackie was saying, be clear, concise, and also be sure of what is written. Take care, because a recruiter will stick to some points and be sure that it is true. Because don't put upfront few things that looks fancy or you've seen in a book that it's good to have in a CV. If it's not really something that you get, or that's really something you can explain, because. To
that, I would say that matches, right, your Hosco profile, that it matches your LinkedIn profile and any other digital platform, because
again, the personal branding, they all form a whole.
Yeah.
And the referrals,
who you are.
As you were mentioning before, Fabrice, you can just tell them, hey, give me 2 referrals to make sure everything that's said here about your skills is true. One last question, and I think it's very interesting. What are the new kind of positions that might open in this post-pandemic era? Is there anything you see that might be new, that you might be recruiting for, or that might happen after the COVID is under control?
Well, I would imagine that there will be positions in terms of welfare, hygiene, this kind of thing, to really make sure that and again, guest experience, to make sure, I know guest experience exists already, but to make sure that it's a really safe environment and that guests feel safe. And there will be obviously a lot more housekeeping checks, things like that will be much more intense. So I would imagine that side of the hospitality industry will develop.
True. In some properties, yes, big enough, there is, yes, all safe coordinator, a person who is in charge of looking at giving advice and checking, but helping, supporting, yes, how to put very clearly and to be sure that all the conditions that we are developing are in place and are followed, yes, closely, and such a thing.
But also for supporting staff, huh? So maybe the HR side of things will also develop that in order to support the staff.
So it can be a position, or it can be some skills which have to be also developed among different managers. But it is, yes, skills which are new for us, because yes, we were having safety in mind, but with all those conditions which are now totally, yes, compulsory. This is something which has to be followed, yes, closely, and also something which is important, how to deal with a positive guest experience, because being behind a plexiglass, wearing a mask, and so on, and yes, how can we enjoy our experience as a customer, as a guest,
Yes,
and have joy and fun in mind?
How to transmit that joy and that welcoming, welcoming guest, even if you're behind a plexiglass or you're wearing a mask. How you can still do that, make that human connection happen and make it feel normal.
In the attitude, in the eyes, in the attitude, in the words we use, in the attention we give to guests, and all those things, yes, have to have some evolution. And of course, we hope that it won't last so strictly for years, but anyway, yes, it's something which we have to implement, and to implement very seriously, clearly, and as you mentioned, that is expected by the guest. We have to build trust. We have to build trust in order for them to come back to hotels.
Yeah, so more than ever before, hygiene more than ever before, because of course hotels, cleaning a hotel through and perfectly has always been of course one of the number one rules in hoteliers. So now more than ever before. So I'm gonna wrap this up. It's almost 6 p.m. here in Spain. And so I just want to end, of course, I started with a positive note. I'm going to end with a positive note. First, thank you for joining us this evening. And so we must remember that hospitality always recovers. We have survived many crises before, and this won't be any different. It's just a matter of time. We have to be patient. We have to be positive. For advice for professionals and young talent, be agile, be flexible, see opportunities. Even if you think that's not my dream job, it can be an opportunity that can lead you to something better in the future. Be creative and be prepared to think outside of the box, behind the plexiglass and behind the mask. Take this time as a chance to build your character, reflect positively about the future and the new era that we have just begun, us as a world, because think that this is not a crisis that's happening to you in particular or to a region or a country. It's happening to the entire world. So we're all in this together. And of course, we'll be, we will, I would say, come back even better at the end of this tunnel. Some of the knowledge the industry we were looking for, of course, it's emotional intelligence, sustainability. We have seen sustainable development. I guess we have all seen how the nature and animals have responded to not having cars, not having so many flights, and some cruises stopped. So no need to tell you the images from Venice with the clear waters. So that's also a thing they should be looking into, because the industry will be looking into that to keep not keep sustainability going, but be greener than before. And of course, digitalization, as we know, has been key to keep us connected, and will remain important for the industry for the future. So thank you so much for joining us. And I hope to see you very soon, or I cannot see you, I'm seeing myself in this computer, but hope to see you soon face to face when we all go back to our normal lives and this global crisis is under control. So take care and have a good day. Okay.
Can we say just a last word?
Yes, of course.
No, sorry, yes, to thank you, and to thank also all the participants, and to mention something that you were talking about, yes, environment, and which is so important also in terms of corporate social responsibility, which is something where we are concerned, and we have to take care, and we have to develop some accuracy about this situation, about the community where we are involved, where we are developing hospitality, and where we as hoteliers have a role and a responsibility to raise and to be clear. And that's something where students and us, we can also give time those days, also in terms of support, solidarity in NGOs and such a thing. So that's the thing. Also to tell you, students and graduates, that we are open. Keep the contact. We are open to, if you have need some advice about your profile on medias, as well about some resumes or a video, the CV video. I tell you, maybe you can do something on that about the way you ask to be connected with professionals. And of course, we keep a light on for you and we wait for you. We need you. Thank you very much. Bye-bye and enjoy. À bientôt.
I think that you young people are extremely lucky to have lived through this crisis right now, because it will prepare you for the future, because it will not be the last crisis that we go through and that hospitality goes through. So this is a very valuable experience for all of you, and it will prepare you for your future careers. And when this happens again, maybe not a pandemic, but Sandra talked about. So hopefully not. Sandra talked about a crisis in 2010. We know that there are financial crises. We know there are all sorts of things that can happen in this world. That's what it's all about, life. So you're very lucky, and it's all about your mindset. So how you deal with this is key. It's crucial, really. It's actually just a little blip in your careers, because your careers are going to last 40 years. So you think now, oh gosh, I'm not going to get a job. Well, you will get a job. It might not be, as we've already said, it might not be your dream job straight away, but it will be. And you've got plenty of time to then move into that career. Fabrice has already said a career is a marathon. You've got plenty of years ahead of you to forge your careers. I'd just like to finally say that the word crisis in Chinese is represented by two hieroglyphs or figures or whatever they're called. And these little figures in Chinese mean danger and opportunity. So see this as a time. Yes, it's a time. It's a difficult time. There's danger, but there's also huge opportunity for you out there. You just have to go out and find it. And it's all about your mindset. So we wish you all the best. We are here for you. And finally, what Fabrice has already said, Accor needs you. Okay, I think we've got the message. And he is not the only one. So positive thoughts to all of you. Hospitality will survive. Companies will need you. And you have a future out there.
Yes,
thank you very much,
absolutely.
Hosco.
Thank you so much, Fabrice.
Thank you so
much, Jackie.
Thank you, Hosco. Thank you, Sandra.
Very insightful. And I hope everyone at home enjoyed and of course took some tips and best practices with them for
and thank everyone for attending.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
To all of you.